Raltha Raban. Abelard was a different sort of
Eric, you're
man
muted.
entirely.
Nope, I
Shit.
fixed it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sorry. I just noticed it
no worries, no
wasn't.
worries.
The mixer wasn't mixing.
Excellent, Sir Mix-a-Lot. Abelard was a different sort of man entirely. We must, however, assess the frequent descriptions of his weakness, incompetence, and foolhardy decisions in light of the ultimate failure of House Harkonnen. Though exiled to Lanky Vale and stripped of any real power, Abelard secured a victory unmatched by anyone else in his extended family. He learned how to be happy with his life. Lansrod Encyclopedia of Great Houses, Post-Jihad Edition. Welcome back to Dune Saga, everyone. This is Season 3 of our Dune campaign here on the Stolen Fires channel. I'm Eric at Monopolis Online, your games master for this epic multi-arc adventure series, which continues tonight with our 5th storyline, Leviathan. As a content warning, this program features adult situations and language and may not be suitable for all ages, so listener discretion is advised. A very warm welcome and salutation to new and old viewers alike here to the Stolen Fires channel on Twitch, where there's always a Let's Play or an awesome RPG live play to look forward to. Special music shoutouts go to Pixabay, Infraction, aka Kevin McLeod for Midnight Tale, Repulsive Sound, Coag Music, Tabletop Audio, and Blear Moon for the use of their excellent music. Many thanks to Modifius Entertainment for making awesome games for us to play. I want to thank Roll20 for the use of their virtual tabletop platform, perfect for hosting games just like Dune Adventures in the Imperium. And as always, a big thanks to our viewers and fans for tuning in. Our house entourage is here and ready to engage in the deadliest of intrigues. Agents of the Imperium, remind our audience who you are, where they can find you online, and who you will be playing this evening. Beginning with Leo.
Hello, my name is Leo, and you can find me here on Twitch at Leo the Black, where I play video games. Anyways, today I will be playing Archibald for you. And around 3 minutes or so, I'll be taking a leave of absence for like maybe 20 minutes, but I'll be back, I promise.
Excellent. Ambrose.
Hey everybody, I'm Ambrose. My pronouns are he or they. Damn it, Rachel. You can find me
Rachel.
on the internet as Am Changeling and on Etsy at Thornkind. And tonight I will be playing Naib Zoshir Tamer Harkonnen?
Question mark.
Aaron.
Hello, everyone. I am Aaron. My pronouns are anything except he, him. You can find me pretty much everywhere as Great Cthulhu in some fashion. Tonight, I will be playing Eloise Cheshire, who is a little unhinged currently. I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing bad will happen.
I think we're all a little unhinged.
I think you're more tyrannical. Just saying.
Key.
Hello, I am Kisama. You can find me on Twitter at TrueKisama, and tonight I'm Pardo Reed, the Mentat.
Very good. And last but not least, of course, Rachel.
Hello, my name is Rachel. I'm Stolen Fires pretty much everywhere on the internet, and I am playing Lady Daphne Cheshire, who is also unhinged and making some very, very bad decisions because grief sucks like that.
Excellent. Now for a very short recap, if you don't mind to do the honors, Ambrose.
Very short one. It's one of Rachel's longest.
It's a group effort.
Fair point. The story opens with a very busy Pardo Reed. It's high noon on Arrakis, and he wears an authentic Fremen stillsuit while landing next to a crash site. The crash that killed Nuri Randama of House Chol, a minor house in service to Raban. It appears as though Randama and her 2 pilots died on impact, but Pardo wants to understand. There's no missile debris, so this wasn't shot down. He takes a swig of sappho juice before moving deftly into the main body of the Thopter. Shuffling carefully on a cracked wing, he replays out the crash in his mind's eye. There's no sabotage, but he spots strange blood splatters on the console. Someone stabbed Randama and her pilots, then somehow escaped. A clearly professional assassination. He smiles, commenting that this mystery is a good use of his talents. Randama knew her attacker. Pardo tries to calculate the wind velocity at the time of the crash, in case the assassin escaped via paraglider or similar equipment. He sends agents to search those areas. As he heads back to the palace, he learns of a maid, poisoned while changing bed sheets in a makeshift barracks. When he arrives, it's to a flurry of activity around Eloise's chambers. Mira begs the guards to break down her door. When they do, there lies Eloise, unconscious. Eloise dreams. A river stretches from the beginning of time to its end. Her mind is a vessel cast in a maelstrom, information flooding in. She embraces the chaos and sees Edric's nexus points. 5 individuals stymieing guild prescience, rotating around a central axis. She watches as the nexus point that was Kyra winks out of existence, taking an infinity of futures with her. The others' nexus points are Daphne, Mossum, and Eloise herself, along with a 5th unknown figure. Eloise follows her own fate, nearly drowning in information, but she understands that she and every other Cheshire is being monitored by someone who exists in many places at once. She watches Amira, judged for Daphne's death by Mossum sitting on the Emperor's throne. Eloise stands before Padisha Empress Daphne, a woman grown cold with grief. Only then does she face her watcher, whose inhuman face sends her reeling back into the real world. She wakes to a panicked Amira, who summons Dr. Sloan to administer a mild sedative which sends Eloise back to sleep. But as she drifts off, she hears a voice. "How did you know I was here?" As Eloise is wheeled off to Medbay, Marshal Reed receives notice that Earl Librius has arrived and wishes to speak with Eloise. When informed of her condition, Archibald seeks her out. He sees Sloane trying to flush melange out of her system while Amira worries over her. Unable to speak with her, he strikes up a conversation with Pardo, though under Ixian dampener. Pardo proposes a game of Cheops for old time's sake. The 2 men carefully evaluate each other during the game, both paranoid. The conversation moves from Razia to Omelas. Archibald admits Omelas was his greatest mistake, or perhaps Yeva was. His wife clearly has a screw loose. He thinks Daphne and the others suspect him of coveting their power, but he has his own plans. Plans he indicates are bold and subtly invites Pardo to join. But Pardo pivots the conversation to Ofcardus. They have turned them all into pawns. Archibald isn't surprised. He knows one twin has survived. He wants Omelas free, but he can't do it alone. Ah, that's what this is about. Asking Pardo to do it. They'll have to speak to Daphne about this. Speaking of, Lady Cheshire remains at Sihaya Tabir. Varys remains by her side as she, perhaps rashly, invited him to her quarters the previous night. She needed a distraction from grief and fear. Now she, Naib Zoshir, and Konki meet with Mirlat to discuss the next steps. Conclave of Naibs to affirm Zoshir's new station. And, of course, discuss the razzia. Zoshir wants Daphne at the conclave, but Mirlat points out she is out of frame. As much as Daphne wants to continue Kyra's work, not all the Naibs will support her. There is, however, one way. A dangerous, risky ritual which can make Daphne full Sayadina, and which might allow her to see at least one parent again. Daphne accepts and Mirlat gives orders, something about drowning a little maker. He also makes sure Daphne understands this ritual may kill her, and will change her. Well then, she must return to the palace to make arrangements. Zoshir wants to send a face dancer, but Daphne's reluctant and mentions Cheshire's cold war with some of them. She'll take a Fremen escort, however. Zoshir and Daphne speak privately. He doesn't want her to risk her life. Daphne knows she's been growing colder, lonelier. She doesn't like the person grief is turning her into. And if the water of life would allow to reconnect with her parents, she'll take it. Zoshir has an alternative proposal. Marry him. That throws Daphne. She says Zoshir doesn't love her. He replies he cares enough to keep her safe. He made this decision when contemplating a changed or dying Daphne. Lady Cheshire tries to explain the political implications. His eldest daughter would one day rule an Outframe house, get tied up in Landsrod politics. Perhaps it might be beneficial. Cheshire heirs have a claim on Arrakis, and Fremen find a voice in the Landsrod. But then, chaos unfolds as Konki holds a shielded man at knife point. An angry Varys demands answers. He's as cold as he was during the last duel, and now looks at Zoshir as a rival. Daphne de-escalates so they can both explain what happened. Varys confesses his feelings for Daphne as he watched her deal with her own parents' loss, which mirrored losing his own to Conley. He proposes an unorthodox solution that Daphne, caught between Imperium life and Fremen life, take 2 husbands, one for each side. Zoshir doesn't disagree. Multiple marriages are within Fremen custom. Daphne doesn't make a decision just yet. The ritual looms, and she must prepare and have a conversation with her aunt. Back at the palace, Eloise comes to. In a panic, she makes Amir swear a blood oath to never leave each other's side. Amir's concerned, but completes the ritual. Eloise explains her melange dosing to try to find a way that doesn't involve killing Daphne. But it's all lose-lose. Eloise does her best to explain her vision, but all Amir understands is that she must take responsibility. Eloise refuses, invoking the blood oath. Just as they discuss fleeing, Pardo summons them to meet with Daphne. Eloise can bring whomever she wants, but Daphne warns that if Amira enters her eyeline, she will kill the other woman. Archibald decides to stay with Amira just out of eyesight. When Eloise enters, Daphne is cold and silent. Kyra's box is the only thing on the table between them. Pardo, Konki, and Varys are with her. Daphne has one question for Eloise. Did she love Adelaide? Eloise insists she loved both her sisters. Daphne pivots on that, invoking the white-hot anger Eloise carried for so long, believing Archibald was responsible for her own family's death. Would Eloise begrudge Daphne that? A former guildswoman can't. She shows Eloise the box, explaining its meaning. Because Kyra loved Adelaide, and Eloise loved Adelaide, Daphne won't order Amira executed. But she can't leave this act unpunished. Daphne issues her judgment. Amira has 1 hour to leave any Cheshire property. If she's caught at the palace, a Jabberwock, or even on a Cheshire ornithopter, she dies. And Eloise is bound even further into service of the house. Oh, and when the Padisha Emperor summons them all to Kaitane to know why his favorite consort and mother of his only son is dead, Eloise gets to be the one to explain that to him. Daphne threatens Pardo to emphasize her point. Eloise makes a reckless, impulsive decision and threatens Pardo with a scalpel to his neck. He responds with his own bodkin, in which Conquisen uses the voice to command Eloise to sit down and drop her weapon. She has no choice to obey. Outside, Archibald desperately persuades Amira not to charge in and kill everyone in the room. He begins escorting her away. Eloise speaks passionately that Daphne is playing into the bad future. Varys is suspicious that Eloise might be an Off-Cardis agent, but Daphne says she didn't act out of hate for Daphne, but love for Eloise. Conky convinces Eloise to explain. She relates her vision of the nexus points and the mysterious Watcher. Conky seems to know who that is. The mother of all navigators. Daphne doesn't know what to make of any of this, and so Pardo escorts Eloise away. He whispers how upset he is that Daphne threatened him and his plans to disobey her. They engage in the Cheshire tradition of faking an argument as they secretly arrange for dead drops. Conky, of course, trails them. Daphne and Varys speak privately. Varys asks if Daphne trusts Eloise, and Daphne says she can't. He agrees with her instincts and suggests using Mira to control her. Daphne takes the idea under advisement, but for now, she must prepare to return to the siege and undergo the ritual. Speaking of the siege, Herdy and Nelia speak of his parents, that they were good people, even for all his father wore a Harkonnen badge. But now, time is of the essence. The Council of Naibs must be called. Zoshir wants to wait for Lady Daphne, but the other Fremen aren't sure there's time. At the least, they can send word out. It'll take the other Naibs about a week to arrive. Zoshir also speaks of his spice vision of his parents. Nawen, the Naib Sayadina of Hagaharg, can tell him more. That's when they hear the sound of a raid outside. It's over quickly, and the captives are presented to Zoshir. The other Fremen are eager to reclaim their water, but Zoshir remembers his vision. These are the Itwali.
Excellent reading the recap as always, Ambrose, and thank you again to Rachel for taking excellent notes. We can begin now with Leviathan. All right, I think we're going to begin where we left off last session, where a group of you were chasing and following each other out of the palace after that very eventful house meeting. So we'll begin with you lot, Elois, Archibald, and Pardo. I believe each one of you individually was following the other, if I'm not mistaken, out of the palace. And Archibald, I believe in particular, was trying to secure some sort of a clandestine meeting, or I might be confusing that with Pardo.
Okay. I gotta go real quick.
Okay. All right.
Great timing. Give me a minute.
Archibald, he's been kidnapped.
Oh, no. But
Yes.
I do know that you were following each other out of the palace to try to establish some sort of secret means of communication outside of Duchess Daphne's Overwatch. Where do you imagine Elois going to, Aaron? Because likely Amira and Pardo Reed will follow.
I imagine that. I'm trying to think. How long have I been on Arrakis again? Would I have known of like some guild safe houses before my summary dismissal? Like perhaps that I could make use
Not
of.
so much guild safe houses. The guild is not an organization that is in need of such things usually.
Fair enough.
They have like embassies and banks and things like that on Arrakis, in the different towns and cities like Carthage and Arakeen in particular. So you can go to any one of those locations.
Yeah, so probably somewhere a little more public, like docks or something like that.
Like the local spaceport in Arakeen or something. That's fine. Crowded place, constant traffic, easy to get lost in. You message Amira to meet you there?
Yes.
Pardo, you and your security apparatus are keeping a close eye on these two individuals as they're leaving the palace, per your command. Did you want to meet with them personally, or did you want to send an envoy, aka a Tiberii, in your stead, to speak for you, or how did you want to establish communication with these co-conspirators, as it were?
Now, Pardo disappearing right now might be a bit suspicious, so he will be sending one of the Tiberii to investigate further.
Very good. Okay. You summon one of the Tiberii to your side and, tell them to get to stepping, to follow Amira and the others. They seem to be heading into Arakeen proper, beyond the marketplace, heading towards the spaceport. They give chase however they want, if they want to monitor from a field on an ornithopter, or if they want to follow on foot and try to be clandestine about it, or if they want to drive through the streets in like a hover car or ground car of some kind. What would the Tiberii want to do, Ambrose?
I wasn't prepared for that question. Oh goodness. Okay, so run me over a quick summary. They're going to where, and what are the options?
They're good. Yeah, Elois and Amira are seemingly going to the spaceport to have a one-on-one meeting. Pardo is personally assigning you to follow them out there. How would you like to proceed?
The most stealthy way possible. I'm
on foot.
Probably, unless they're too fast to keep up.
Do you bring additional personnel with you, or?
Well, so don't want to attract too much attention.
Right.
Probably just a bunch that might look like they're running errands together. So maybe 2 or 3 max.
Okay. A couple of them throw on Jabba cloaks and they mix into the crowd. You follow from a distance, keep an eye on them. Amira, meets up with you, Elois, at the starport. So, the Tiberii are close enough that they can use a listening device to pick up on what they're saying. So Pardo can hear everything. Back at the palace, Amira turns around and sees you in a state that she's never seen you in before, Elois, and she just continues to she looks like she's gonna march back at any moment back into the palace, and you have to put your hands out no, they're gonna fucking kill you, and she just keeps repeating. She's incensed. She keeps repeating words. I swore a blood oath.
Wait. I have a plan. I have a plan.
You have a plan. Archibald has a plan. Everyone has plans, and no one sticks to them. No one knows what the plan is. What are we going to do?
Step one, we're going to get you a Tiberi outfit.
A what?
You know, the Pardo Reed's little personal guard or whatever they are.
I'm not working for that little
No,
weasel.
of course not. You're going to just dress like one of them.
I don't know which one's worse.
I think
if they catch me inside that palace, they will kill me. Is this how you want to live the rest of our lives together? In fear? Or in defiance?
What would you have me do? Seize control of the house for myself?
I don't know. But something has to happen. Something must be done. We can't live this way. I told you I'd take the blame for this, so that the guild and the Bene Gesserit stop what they're doing.
Thank you.
They'll
So
kill
they can
you.
stop leveraging everything over us.
And they're not going to stop. They're still going to try to kill the Duchess. And if she was not so grief-stricken, she might have actually listened to me. That the assassins are still going to come, even if it's not your blade.
So what other alternative do we have? What's your plan?
You're probably not going to like this.
I promise you I'm not gonna like any of this.
I think we slip a communique out to Massam and let him know that the guild has killed his mother.
Oh no. Okay. You want to bring House Carino into this?
If there's anyone who can keep the guild off balance enough to keep you and I and Daphne and whoever else this mysterious person is that I don't know, the other one that's a nexus point, safe.
Is the idea to bring him here for this? To keep them off my scent? Or yours, rather?
I think any distraction is a good one at this point.
So she's reading what you're saying. She's picking up what you're putting down as, let's give the guild and the Bene Gesserit more than one target simultaneously.
Correct.
Wow. He's a child. Isn't he?
He's got the voice. And he's the son of the Emperor. You heard, Daphne. The guild's brazen, but brave enough to kill the son of the only heir to the Padishah throne currently.
What makes you think they would target him then?
He's one of the nexus
They wouldn't
points.
dare incur the... Yes, but they wouldn't dare incur the wrath of the Emperor and House Carino?
But just him being here will cloud their prescience even further.
I don't enjoy this idea of using this boy as a shield. And I don't think it's going to work. If you want me to make the trip to Kaitane and personally seek him out and deliver him the news of what happened here with his mother, I'll do it.
No.
But then what does that mean about my oath?
I don't know what to tell you.
So I guess this is it, isn't it?
What do you mean?
You stay here and here and I go to Kaitane?
I'm not sending you to Kaitane, no. I just need to get there's got to be another way than sending you to get a message to Massam.
This is incredibly dangerous.
Everything we're doing is dangerous.
So we'll find a courier to send a secret message to him, to convey him a message letting him know. Isn't the Duchess going to do that herself, though?
No, didn't you hear her in the meeting? I'm the one who has to tell the Emperor and the court what happened. So I will. just ahead of schedule. And I forgot to mention, never mind, I'm reckless. She's just gonna say it aloud. Pardo Reed's on our side.
How so?
He whispered something to me when he was throwing me out of the palace.
Elois, your house is steeped in espionage. How can you trust him?
Because Daphne threatened his life.
You mean she didn't do that ever before?
Apparently not.
We'll need to test this loyalty somehow.
I think disguising you as a Tiberii and letting me use you as I fit will be step 1 in that test. Step 2 will be...
If you think this plan will work.
I don't know anymore. I didn't look for a future so close. Step 2 will be him encrypting the missive to Vassum so that no one else gets this intel.
That will be a test. Enough to.
I mean, he has the knowledge already, but being willing to send it is the test, I suppose.
Okay. Archibald, your Varangian guard have tracked the two to Amira and Elois to the starport, along with Pardo Reed's security apparatus. They were monitoring as well. Did you want to introduce yourselves to your co-conspirators, or did you want to keep a light touch on this?
Oh no, I'm definitely going to introduce.
Okay.
Well,
so they're talking and they're arguing. You come up and they stop talking and look at you at the same time, like, what the fuck is he doing here?
Well, that was very inspiring. Certain events. Well, not inspiring, but dreadful. Very.
That's a word for it.
Yeah.
What's
your interest?
Sorry, so go on. Go ahead.
What's your interest in keeping us alive, General?
My interest? I need both of you. I want to go to Tupile. My goal is still that. I need both of you.
Still looking for those exiled children of forgottenfulness or whatever?
Yeah. One thing I don't think I think they get underestimated, in my opinion.
General, what's your relationship with Pardo Reed, the Mentat?
He's probably the closest person. Granted, he's still a Mentat, but
can he be trusted?
Yes, but just be
close to him.
Wary of what you
we
say.
Have a message you want. If you trust him and if he's close to you, we want to deliver a secret message to be delivered. I believe he's a bit of an expert on encryption.
Yeah, I could see that.
She goes and gets crystalline paper to write the note to Mossum. You can write it however you want, Elois, a Belhish or not on it, as much as you like. She rolls it up and then hands it to you, Archibald. Give this to your marshal and have him encrypt it efficiently. It has to be delivered to Kaitane immediately. I don't know what the political situation is currently for the Emperor, but this has its way into Mossum's hands and no one else. Send someone you trust.
I agree, but I would like to know what's in this letter. Am I going to be...
Amira looks to Ellis.
I'm following the Duchess's orders, just a little ahead of schedule.
Okay.
I'm informing
you
Mossum
deliver
of
us
passing of his mother.
Ooh. Well then. Okay.
One thing, General, if you do this for us, then we will consider, she says, and looks over to Alois, we'll consider your plans to reach out to reach out to those exiles in Two Pile, and we'll assist in whatever way we can.
So, I also may have a way. Actually, scratch, I said that. Of course. We'll get this to him, but you also need to know. Pardo, I do still believe, is still loyal towards House Cheshire. Guarantee if Lady Daphne finds out about this, she's not going to like it. I just want you to make sure that you are prepared for the consequences if this does go awry.
I'm used to disappointing my niece at this point.
I never said I wouldn't do it. I'm just telling you.
Before Amira hands you the missive, she's like, loyalty to the house or loyalty to the Duchess? There is a difference.
There is. But I know that he's a trusted advisor.
Hands you
So keep your guard up.
the message. Understood. I'm going to make myself scarce for some time and check in with some contacts in anticipation of what we may need in the future, she says. I'll seek you out in some other time, beloved. She kind of turns and walks away, blends into the crowd. Do the two of you like pair off like Blue Angels and head back to the palace or other parts of Arakeen, or
So
you stick around chit chats anymore?
I would actually like to talk to Eloise as well. And I wanted to ask her a question. So,
Go ahead.
Eloise, if you do come to Two Pine with me, how would you feel? How do you feel about Two Pile?
To be perfectly honest, ambivalent.
Ambivalent? Definitely say. So I did want to ask you a question in terms of being a part of House Cheshire. I know you will always be loyal to House Cheshire, but no, there's always going to be a place for you, no matter what happens, in House Liberius. But that's up to you.
I see.
Just know that there's a place. And that's kind of where we split up.
Yep. Excellent. Things are moving along. Pardo, your security apparatus, what would you like to do with them? Did you want to follow them to where they're going, or just kind of disperse, record, relay the information?
Give them the order to disperse.
Okay. Disperse the Tiberii? Okay.
Tiberii, scatter.
Scatter.
Smoke bomb.
Scatter.
They definitely scrungle.
Excellent.
That is the official formation that Pardo gives the order for, the scrungle formation.
I cannot claim that term. That is entirely Aaron and Drea's term. So
Oh,
It's not ours either. It is from our VTuber friends.
fine.
It's everyone's term now. Please scrungle away.
Very good. All right, so you scrungle away, as it were, back to the palace, to your own devices, and to plot amongst yourselves. Lady Daphne, you had a one-on-one meeting with Varys post-meeting. He was concerned about being able to handle someone of Elois's caliber, and he's like, I need to step away for a moment. Let me just check in with my entourage and such. And he kind of goes and leaves to go into like one of the foyers to make a call on the community. You're one of the servants. As the door opens and he leaves, one of the servants meets you and says, "Your Grace, there you have a guest at the front gate asking to see you. We have him currently in the foyer awaiting your command.
Who
This
is
is a
it?
representative from a house. His name is Nikolai." Mr. Gradinov wants to know if he can meet with you personally to discuss matters. Did you want to see him?
Ah, yes, please.
We're supposed to.
Oh, we can meet in an office.
Very good, as you will. She bows respectfully, goes to bring him to you.
Make sure there are like
Do
other
you-
people in the room, like servants, just wandering around.
Okay. You have him hosted at an office meeting. Is there anything you do before you, if and when, or unless you're stalling him, is there anything that you do before you meet with him?
No, I'm not gonna stall him. Better to just get this over with. She'll like
Sure.
rearrange her veil and her jewelry, just probably in a little bit of disarray, make herself look more presentable, and then go meet him.
Okay. The door opens and he's assuming a very comfortable position on the desk. Like, you know how that he's just sort of lounging on it, sitting on it. Ah, Daphne, good to see you again, my dear. It's been some time since our last meeting, yes? How have you? I've heard there's been quite a bit of activity here in Arakeen involving your house. Is everything all right?
I'm sure it will be. Thank you for asking.
Well, I wanted to take some time to perhaps get an inquiry from you on your decision to back the resolution that we're planning on putting forward in the Landsrat concerning the Raban's worm hunt. We're hoping that perhaps you can co-sign with us, assuring that we bring some of the Saudokar here to Rakis to oversee this operation, so that we don't appear to be, not participating with the Harkonnens.
Of course. Could I see the final version?
Of course, he lays it out onto the desk. He purposely does it in a way so that you have to come over and look over his shoulder or something, to get within close proximity.
Pick it up, step back. This is a professional meeting.
He ignores that, of course, that the kind of decorum. He's like, I have to say, you look very, very dashing in this new outfit. I don't think I've seen you in such colors before. Usually they're so vibrant, but today they look a bit more muted. Are you all right?
I lost a family member recently.
Oh, I'm so sorry, he says. You can tell he's obviously lying, like he did his homework before he came over here. He's like, oh, that is terrible news. Please, perhaps let me do what I can to assuage your anxieties. Yes, of course, and of course we can go over the official paperwork as you will.
Please. So Daphne would like to read over the proposal and just sort of use her political sensibilities. How is this likely to be received? And, what might it mean for Arrakis?
It seems a bit desperate, but it reflects mostly on the Harkonnens and not your house and his house specifically. It's a very carefully worded document where he's basically saying, well, because of the stress, the stress that comes with operating like this, and something as dangerous as a worm hunt, something as unorthodox as this, we need official Imperial overseers to Arrakis to assist Governor Raban in his endeavor to hunt and destroy one of these terrible creatures, off the top of the dome. and he's like, we of course want to exhibit our support for this hunt, and they are hereby co-signing on this resolution and imploring the Landsrat as a whole and House Carino specifically to assist us in bringing additional help in the overseeing this worm hunt. And it's very carefully worded, and it's kind of like, we're not asking for help, the Harkonnens need help and we're asking on their behalf, is kind of like how it sounds.
Okay.
Raban probably wouldn't care, but if something like this is looked over by the Baron, he might be like, fuck you, he might be like, he might take issue with you guys in different ways, maybe not publicly, but behind the scenes you can see the political implications of this coming.
Alright, so Daphne will suggest throw in a little things about like being loyal servants. Just so ideally so we seem stupid, not malicious.
Okay. But in favor of incompetence than anything else. Okay, sure. He of course has already signed it, so you sign it in full and you put your seal on it. This is excellent. Thank you so much for indulging me and hosting me so eloquently, especially in your time of grievance. Just then the door opens and Varys walks in and just kind of stops and looks at this guy. And you see the behind him is like a servant, like, ma'am, I tried to stop him. I knew you were busy in here. And he just kind of, he takes a deep breath and he looks at this guy and it's like, I don't think we've been introduced, Varys says.
Ah, yes.
Oh, play. Hello, my name is Nikolai Gradimov. You must have heard of me, of course. I represent House Gliss here on Arrakis. Daphne and I are friends, but I'm not familiar with you, sir. And they just kind of like give each other the dagger eyes.
How
do you
Mr. Gliss and I are working on a proposal to send to the Emperor and the Landsrat to try and unfuck the situation here.
Eloquently put. I couldn't have done better myself, he says. And then he puts his hand on your arm briefly.
Nope.
And you see Varys sees it.
You brush it away.
You very, just eloquently just take his hand off of your arm, and he just kind of, and Varys, enters the room, and he's like, I see. If your business has concluded, Mr. Granimov, perhaps I can escort you out. And Nikolai is like, oh, I believe I just got here and we were just discussing future plans, perhaps. After this resolution is signed, I was attempting to try to negotiate things with the Duchess and her house. Perhaps we were discussing things such as murders and so on. And you see Varys just kind of cuts him off, and it's like, yes, that'll be quite enough, thank you. I believe the Duchess is quite busy with her other duties, head of the household and all. Thank you for stopping by, Mr. Graninoff. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Right this way. Of course, I have already overstayed my welcome. Excuse me, Your Grace. I will make myself scarce. Please enjoy the rest of your day, and my deepest apologies. He restrains himself from touching you again. He gets that close, He's like,
she just gives him steely glare, like, you might lose those fingers, sir.
He gets the message, and he's like, but thank you, as always, for being so gracious. Good days to you. And he leaves the office. Varys watches him leave, and then he shuts the door, and he looks at you and it's like, who was that guy?
He thinks he's worthy to be a suitor of mine.
Well, I'm glad he's mistaken, he says. He smiles.
He is, but I don't necessarily want to alienate a political ally.
I understand. Is there anything that you need from me? What can I do for House Cheshire?
Well, I need to write my will and then go back to the siege.
Writing your will seems somewhat grim. Why?
The ritual might kill me.
I don't like this. Is this absolutely necessary?
I don't like it either. But I don't like who I am right now.
I like who you are. What's wrong with who you are right now? This ritual said, you said that this will change you? Do you know how?
No, I have no idea how.
You should know that I care for you no matter how you are. Or I accept you in all ways. Please, if this is something that can endanger you, unless you're absolutely certain that it won't change who you are as a person, I implore you to not to do it.
It's not just for me that I'm doing it. It's for the house. I think this is the best decision to make to grow closer to the Fremen.
If there was another way, I'd offered it to you. There is another way, isn't there? The correct answer is yes. He says.
What are you suggesting?
Well, there's a lot of ways to get in good graces with the Fremen. There's diplomacy, of which you're an expert at, I believe. So I've heard. You made alliances with House Atreides. Such things aren't done easily. House Ikaz, I've heard all about it. Why are the Fremen different? And why does risking your life paramount to making such an alliance?
Because I think it is the best thing for my house. Because Arrakis is dangerous and it's a trap. I can't leave. I have to go forward.
I understand. I just find it difficult to believe that Arrakis is a trap. It's how I found you, so I can't believe that.
You're very sweet. But
Well, I'm sorry, Daphne, but I can't follow you to that place, he says, and he takes your hands. I know that you feel that you have to do this thing, but I can't stand to see you suffer more than you already have. If you have to do this, then you do it without me. If you manage to survive, I want to know that I'll be able to see you again.
you will.
And I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow.
He bows and he lets himself out. Then he goes after
So,
Radimov before he leaves.
Daphne, when he bows, Daphne grab him by the sleeve and give him a kiss and then let him go.
He smiles. He closes his eyes, he smiles, and Your Grace. He leaves. He grabs you hear something happening down the hall as he catches up with Granimov, grabs him by the cuff and turns him around, and then like leans into him and like whispers something in his ear, and Granimov's eyes go wide. And then he just exits stage left.
Oh, I want to know.
You can imagine what he probably said to this guy. Okay. So you presumably make communication with the Siege, and you let your assistants know, like, hey, I gotta fly over to the Siege to do a thing. And you write out your will beforehand.
It all goes to Massam.
It all goes to Massam. Oh boy, okay. And nothing for Elois.
Nope.
Nope.
Wow.
Okay. What about Archibald? Anything for any
Nope.
concessions? Okay.
It's
That's a really
After
short
all the
will.
help I have done.
So, you know how, like, when you write a will, you give someone, like, a really small amount of money? Like, I didn't forget you, but also fuck you?
What are you?
Okay, yeah. Very good. You throw him some concessions for assisting the house, you know, and so on. Very good. So you make your plans to travel to the Siege. They fly you over there. Norma is presumably with you as Conqui.
Mm-hmm.
As on the Thopter ride over there, she's just like, I don't like the situation with your suitors, Your Grace. We're going. Although I want heirs for the house, and we've discussed this many times. I have a odd feeling about them all. Even Zoshir Fremen. Call it a premonition.
You tried getting me to marry Duke Leto Atreides. That really didn't work out.
We tend to aim high with our goals.
Do you have a better suggestion in mind?
Not currently, but I'm working on it.
What are you working on?
You'll see. The rest of the ride there, she tells you about her own experience with the agony and what you can expect, and it kind of blows your mind. Some of it doesn't mean anything currently, but it will when you get there. One second here. Secret messages.
Yeah. Daphne will also say when Conky brings up the suitors, I like them both.
She passes you a secret message, by the way, while she's talking to you. But by passing a message, I don't mean like a written message. She's speaking to you in the Chakobsa, the hand language of the Bene Gesserit, that you can understand. No one else that's monitoring that's with you on the ornithopter can hear or understand. She basically says, "Message from your aunt. You're next on the guild's hit list. Amira was to be your next target."
That's another reason I have to do this.
The ornithopter lands at Sihaya Tabir.
So Daphne will ask Conky, like, what should I do with this information?
You're the Duchess. You have to make the decision. The guild and the Bene Gesserit are powerful enemies.
Is it possible to make a sort of understand our political role to figure out viable options?
Yeah. You can make a roll.
Okay.
2 difficulty, we'll say. Things that you can do to kind of gum up the works for the guild and the Bene Gesserit and make yourself difficult to get got, as they say.
Okay. House politics, Canley, those are relevant focuses?
House politics, 100%, yeah.
Oh, shit!
4. You get 2 momentum out of that. You're going to need it in a minute.
Job.
I am. I think that makes our total 3.
Yep, you got 3 momentum right now.
Nice.
You see a couple of options available to you as far as making yourself indispensable. to someone like the guild and the Bene Gesserit, untouchable even. Mossam is the bastard son of the Emperor. The Emperor doesn't have a wife.
Fuck me.
Anymore. I mean, there's several that want to do that, but
Jesus.
but this is one option that, though extremely dangerous, will 100% be able to get the guild and the Bene Gesserit off of your back in one go. Although you're gonna break somebody's heart if you do.
Jesus. Yeah.
You think about that for a second, and we're gonna transition over to Siege Hayat Tabir. Naib Zoshir Tamer. You have a special guest this evening, as you're making the preparations for Lady Daphne to be received and to undergo the agony. Sayadina Naib Nawan is here to see you. She comes with a full entourage from Sich Hagaharg. It's a bit of a long journey, a couple days to get here by worm. They set up shop and they're here to see you personally. She wants to have a private audience with you, she says, before the proceedings.
Well, in that case, Zoshir will ask his whoever captured the Dwali that are there to hold on to them, don't let them out of their sight. Put them in whatever is equivalent to a Fremen prison.
We'll keep them captive, of course.
It's imperative that you don't seal their water, at least not yet. Visions
Understood.
and all that.
You see, Hurdy and Nelia are like, "Oh, can we come too to the meeting?" And Nelia's like, "Stop it."
That depends on Nawin, but sounded as if she wanted it private.
She just shakes her head. "You know what you have to do," she says. And they're like, "Oh, okay." She takes you aside. It's like, and once the curtain closes and everything, she's like, "Having trouble with the Dwali?"
Yes, actually, raid.
Huh. Why haven't you killed them yet?
A vision. My
Vision, you
parents.
say. Tell me.
Well, when we had the ritual, and that's Ambrose forgetting what the title was of the said ritual.
The Tau?
Yes, thank you. When we had the Tau, I saw my parents.
What did they say?
That we're going to need the Idwali to take down the Harkonnen.
A very unusual sighting.
Yes, especially considering my father was apparently Harkonnen.
They told you.
They did.
Sit down. Let me tell you where you come from.
He will do so and make sure that they have some water or tea, whatever they might have.
She graciously declines the offer. She's like, Nawan and Hurdy know a little bit of who you are and where you come from. I know the rest, however. We raised you in that Siege in Hagaharg, where you came from. Maybe one day I'll take you there. That old Siege was destroyed by them. There's some things that you need to know before you fully come into your own as a Naib, as you have seemingly become, as Kyra predicted. Your father was descended of the Harkonnen. Here's what I know. Abelard Harkonnen was the planetary governor assigned by his father Dmitri Harkonnen because he was the favorite between himself and his older brother, Vladimir. He governed Arrakis for a good 20 years. He was not the typical kind of Harkonnen. Abelard possessed a kind heart. He endeared himself to the Fremen, and at some point, he sired a son who became known as Zanir. Either because of his kindness or perhaps because of it, Abelard was found to be doing a terrible job managing Arrakis. After Dmitri died, Vladimir took the title of Baron and forcefully exiled his own brother to the planet Lankyvale, where he would govern over the whale fur trade. Vladimir Harkonnen took control of Arrakis then. After his exile, Abelard renounced his family surname and took the one of his wife's, Emmy Rabban. Together they had 2 children, Glossu Rabban and Fade Rautha Rabban. To punish his brother, the Baron stole Glossu and Fade Rautha away from the happy couple and raised them as his own. In retaliation, Abelard found secret spice stockpiles and liquidated the wealth they contained. He distributed it amongst the people he governed on Lankyvale. He also secreted melange to Arrakis to aid his Fremen family. Decades later, the Baron discovered what had happened to his spice stores and in retaliation sent Glossu Rabban to strangle his own father to death, earning him the nickname the Beast. Your father died fighting Harkonnens when you were too little to remember. He was succeeded by your surrogate father, Oshem. To honor both of your fathers, they named you Zoshir. When your mother was a Sayadina among us, whose name was Majza. I'll put the names in the Discord so you can see. How do you react to that?
That's.
You are Harkonnen in your veins, but you are also Fremen, for you were born here on Arrakis.
It explains a lot.
You shouldn't allow your genealogy to guide who you are. You should be the captain of your own fate. Kyra believed as such. She saw the possibilities when she glimpsed the future. I trust that you've glanced at her journals by now, before you elicited them to Kyra's daughter.
I needed answers.
You won't find them there. But in here, you'll find them. You must look within at some point, but perhaps not today. As I understand it, there's someone else who will be looking within today. This Duchess of Cheshire.
I'm worried for her.
Why?
She may die. She may perish in this ritual, and she has family that she's.
She holds up a hand like, everyone who undertakes the agony knows the risks. It is transformative. It transformed me when I was with the Sisterhood. And it will undoubtedly transform her as well. Why do you care for this outframe?
I got to know her. I got to know her family.
Is this love, Zoshir?
I don't know.
I suppose we'll find that out together as well. I came to give you these news and to oversee the ritual, as is custom. There is no Sayadina here, at least not with who's currently able to facilitate the ritual. Myrma, despite being a fellow sister and adherent to Kyra, is not well, as I understand it. She inherited what Kyra gave her, and that is a terrible burden to behold for anyone. So I will be overseeing the ritual. With your permission, of course.
I would be honored.
After the ritual, there's much that we need to discuss.
I feel as though there's much we need to discuss before the ritual as well.
Oh? Proceed.
My parents, the vision of them, anyhow, suggested, as I had stated before, taking down the Harkonnen with the help of the Adwali. I know I'm probably the only one who would believe that. How can I sway the other Naib? How can I convince the Fremen that we must stand united?
I don't know the answers to these questions. But as a Naib, you've already convinced me. If you bring it to the council, I will support you.
How have I convinced you already?
Because you're him. You're the Mahdi. We follow you. Shai Hulu chose you, Zoshir.
No, the child Mossam, he's the Mahdi.
Says who?
I saw him put on the still suit with no assistance. It was one of the signs.
And I saw you put one on when you were just a child, before we fully instructed you on how to do it. We raised you, Zoshir, don't forget that.
He can use the voice.
And so will you, given time. Should you be willing?
I'm glad to be seated at this moment.
It's a lot to undertake, I know. She puts her hand on your shoulder. Kyra confided with me and the others like me that we would have to pave the way. It's like if we would rather have the Fremen bring about their own savior than have to look to the stars for someone to save them from their enemies, from this place. You are one to do that. Do you feel like you're up to the task?
The task? Yes. The title, I'm gravely unsure.
And that's how we know that you'll be suitable for it.
I have much to contemplate.
Of course, I understand. Take as much time as you need to contemplate your title, but know that time is running out. With concerns to dealing with the Harkonnens, like their time is almost done here on Arrakis, and if they are allowed to leave on schedule, they will take a tremendous amount of wealth with them, unless we act soon.
I plan at the acceptance of me becoming a Naib in front of all the others I plan on bringing up the Razzia.
Excellent.
And
I'll send word now, and we'll assemble the Naibs at Sich Tabir. Perhaps a week from now. We'll convene then, sooner rather than later.
yes, it will take some time to travel, but
Good.
it'll be worth it.
It'll be done. Now, give me a few moments. I need to prepare myself for this ritual. She gets up and she walks out. What do you do? You're left to your own devices.
He's about to ask her if there's anything that he can do for her to help her prepare, but it seems that she is much more swift than his voice. He sits there in contemplation for a moment. Wish I could speak with my parents again.
She did hint at something, that at some point you will have to look within. That's the term they use when they speak about the agony and being able to see and speak to your ancestors that came before you. She's insinuating that you at some point will have to undergo the agony as well as the Mahdi, which means you could die, as many have tried and many have died. Speaking of which, the ornithopter lands at Sich Sihaya Tabir, and the Duchess Daphne exits with her entourage. Conquise Sen stands at her side, as always, quietly watching and waiting. You're led into a circular chamber, centralized, and it's packed full of Fremen, both from here and from Sich Haga Harg. Officiating this particular ritual is Nawan, the Naib over Zoshir. They don't want to waste any time, but they, of course, will honor you when you're ready. Lady Daphne, you can give the word, and they will commence the ritual.
Yeah, so I guess whatever ritual preparations Daphne knows to take, she will undergo whatever Norma tells her to do.
She tells you that if you hear a voice or multiple voices, to heed them, but be careful with who those voices belong to, and to give them to seed too much mental landscape to them. It goes right over your head, but she's basically telling you be careful who you interact with inside of yourself. Okay, let the party get started. Before this can officially commence, however, I need to know from Daphne, who is in perfect control of her own biology, the night that you spent with Varys. It's a relevant question.
God damn it.
I need an answer, and I need an answer.
Oh shit. I'm trying to figure, because we never actually like had a conversation. We just sort of, yeah, that happened. Oh shit.
Right.
Oh, you could already be pregnant.
I could. I know. I'm trying to decide if I am. It's a cooler story if I am. So yes.
Cool. All right. So that's happening. All right.
Oh yeah, definitely cooler story. I like your decision.
A bitter taste hits your taste buds, and you convulsively swallow what seems to be liquid fire as they hold you down and they arrange things around you so that you can drink this bluish liquid down your throat and into your stomach. There's no pain, but there's this burning that's taking place. You feel a warmth like never before, and probably never again. Slowly, with each heartbeat, you feel the warmth expand outwards When it reaches your fingertips, you start convulsing. Something soft but firm replaces the syringe in your mouth, probably so that you don't bite your tongue. When you feel your lungs in pain when you exhale. The lungs feel flat, never full enough. Your small sense of presence winds through other presences in the room with you. Far too many people that can actually fit inside. That's when you begin hearing the voices. You hear but cannot distinguish the actual words. The more you focus on the voices, the more aware you are that you've lost touch with your body. Somewhere out there, there was this pain that you are now removed from. And now you're this wisp of consciousness floating in this void. From the cacophony of voices emerge two figures, pulling your consciousness with them. "Hello, Mother," they say in unison. Their eyes blaze blue within blue, like yours will be soon. You have become hyper-aware of their existence in your room as they, in turn, have become hyper-aware of you in their surroundings. "We love you, Mother," they say in unison as a flash of agony rips you back out of this short reprieve. You cannot escape this. Every nerve in your body is set ablaze. You want to cry and scream and beg for mercy, but instead you tumble into this void of emotions, and you feel this wisp of consciousness that you were will snap at any moment. You're being stretched to your limits, and you cannot resist any longer. You're dying. The pain is exquisite. I need you to make a discipline difficulty 5, please.
Fuck. Alright, I am blowing all 3 momentum.
Okay. Let's see, that'll get you... Yeah, that'll give you 2 dice, so you're at 4 dice right now.
Okay.
And of course, if you have a statement under discipline, you can potentially use your determination point to get 2 automatic successes.
I only have focuses and discipline.
No, not this pertaining. Oh, sorry, I've said discipline. If the drive that you're using has a statement, you don't forget you can use a determination point.
Uh-huh.
You're like, oh yeah, I already knew that. Okay.
I'm using duty. Upholding
Okay.
my house is everything.
Personal sacrifice for the house. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead and roll.
Okay, so the determination gives me 1 more die?
No, it gives you 2 automatic successes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so that's 4 dice.
Is that 4 successes?
No, that's from
Oh,
the
wait, no, that's
previous roll.
understand.
Alright, my focuses don't
Whoa.
apply. That sucks. Oh, fuck!
4 successes. So just to give you a heads up, if you rolled 1 success, you die. If you roll 2 successes, you die. If you roll 3 successes, you die. If you roll 4 successes, something happens.
Okay. Oh, so Prana Bindu.
You can re-roll, yes. Don't forget.
Yes.
And also, don't forget you have benevolence.
Okay, Prana Bindu first.
That's a success. So that's 5 successes on the money. Very well done. Okay. Suddenly, everything compresses back in, and you become aware of the distant others, lost lives that extend behind you in an undetermined length through a fog. Occasionally, that fog lifts to reveal events. Wait. No. memory. These are memories. The agony recedes. It's worse than any words could possibly describe. Your psyche has been seared, and you, as a person, have been remolded. You are not the same person who entered this chamber. And now the question remains, who is Daphne Cheshire? And that's where we're going to go on break. Time is now 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. We shall return in 10 minutes, everyone. Stay tuned.
too.
And we have returned from our break. Where we last left off, Daphne undertook the agony and almost died. Met her children, her unborn children, inside of her, and developed something called other memory, where she can go back into her own lineage. And on the female side, see all of the different ancestors that she's had throughout time and relive their experiences. Rachel, go ahead and write down the talent Other Memory on your character sheet. What it basically allows you to do is that anytime you need knowledge of any kind, history, lore, whatever it is that you need to know, you can automatically get 3 successes, or up to 3 successes, in addition to whatever you roll. So as far as knowing stuff between you and normal, you probably have it covered. Congratulations. Welcome to the Other Memory Club, as it were. When you come to, Conqui is there with you, holding your hands, and she, despite having a very stoic expression that she typically has as when she's Norma, she does have the up parts, the corners of her mouth upturned in a sort of a smile of admiration that you have endured this, she says. We perpetuate this together, she says, almost as part of the ritual. And she's like, who did you see?
I saw Federico and Beatrice. No, Federico and Adelaide. No, not. I already had names picked out.
What?
She starts crying a little bit. The thing with Yeva's gotta stop.
She, as soon as you say that, her face drops for a second, and she's like, everyone leave the room now. Everybody, like the Sayadina, like overlooking the ritual and everything. She's like, okay, clear out. And it's just you and Conqui, and she's like, are you pregnant? You need to tell me right now if you're pregnant.
Yes. And I met them.
Do you know the word the Sisterhood uses for women who take the agony while they're still pregnant? Or rather, their children? You know what they're called? She leans in close to you. They're called abominations. They're pre-born, Daphne. Your children will be born with fully adult knowledge.
I saw them. They're twins.
The thing with Yeva cannot be called off. It's a residual poison.
Give her the antidote.
Are you sure you want to do that?
Yes, I can't. She's carrying children too. I can't.
She has this look of annoyance on her face, like, oh, really? She's just like, I fucking hate that. I almost had her. I'll have to travel to Jabberwock to do this. You're gonna need somebody to protect you. Can your betrothed, is that what we're calling him now? Trying to search for the right word here. Is Varys to be trusted with such a duty?
I think so.
Very well, she says. Then I'll leave you in their hands. But I will accompany you back to the palace. She calls over Myrma and Nawan. And you, Zashir. Before you enter, she has seemingly already had a conversation with the other two Bene Gesserits, and both of their faces are white as sheets when you walk through. And they're like, they have this look, and they one of them blurts out, "What are we gonna do now?" And Conquest is like, "We monitor her, and we make sure that everything goes through successfully." And she looks to Zoshir. I am going to accompany the Duchess back to the palace when she is well enough to travel, when she deems it so. Please, if you can, prepare a place so that she may rest until she's ready.
Now, I was worried for a moment. The way that you were speaking, it sounded as if she had died.
They look at each other. No, she's alive.
Good. I'll
You have
prepare a
business to.
place.
Excellent, thank you. All three leave together, turn and leave at the same time. And they all come over to talk to you and reassure you that everything's fine, you're fine. They ask you if you're feeling exhausted, like you're just dry. They immediately bring over, like the front bring over like pads that soak up the moisture. So you feel a little bit better, but like you feel like you've gone through something indescribable and you're just completely exhausted. So they're like, if you need to rest, we're preparing a place for you now. Rest as much as you need, and then we will take you back to the palace when you're ready. How much time does Daphne want to spend in Sihaya Tabir?
She'll probably sleep for a couple hours, but she'll also want to talk to Zoshir.
Okay. I want to see this. So after the ordeal, she's been taken to her own room, her own little place within the siege where she can relax. They Mirlat sent some face dancers over to you, Zoshir, and they're like, the just wishes to see you, speak with you privately.
All right. At the moment,
I mean, she's
he'll
like,
make his.
let him know when he's free. She's not summoning him.
Oh.
Yeah, not like demanding your presence at the moment.
He'll finish up preparations on her room and then head over to speak with her so that he can direct her to the room.
Okay, very good. 1 second here. All right. You walk over to see Daphne. She seems a little bit exhausted, but after a few hours of sleep, but she looks a little bit ready to speak.
I survived.
I'm glad. I was worried. I had walked into the room and they had spoken as if you had died. At
I
first.
did something they would have preferred I'd not.
I'm sure it's not that bad.
Might change your proposal.
What do you mean?
I'm pregnant. It's only a couple days, but I suppose it was enough.
You... Oh. Are 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 you all right? Is your child all right?
Children, twins.
Are your children all right?
I got to meet them.
How?
It's terribly painful, but I saw them.
does this mean for them? They underwent the agony.
Their mother did.
But they are a part of you. In a way.
Mama thinks I shouldn't have done it, but I met them. They were fine. There was nothing wrong with them.
You experienced such pain they had to have as well.
No. Isn't that what a mother's body is for?
I'm not sure.
But I don't know if this changed anything between us.
I am a little confused. Because you spoke with me about children as if you didn't have any.
Oh, I suppose I still don't have any. I wanted you to understand what you were asking. What it would mean for you.
I would be lying if I said that I wasn't a little let down. I had my hopes raised a bit.
I can have more than 2 children.
That is true, but how could they compare?
Compare with what?
I don't think that these twins will be normal. If you gain the ability of a Sayadina, logic would follow that they will as well.
I suppose they will. I was always planning on teaching both of them.
I suppose time will tell. But no, my offer to you does not change. You should probably contact Varys.
I should. I'm inclined. I'm inclined to accept both of you. If that is acceptable.
It is to myself, though I have a feeling Varys may be uncomfortable with the idea. You may need to give him some time.
You seemed amenable when he was the one who suggested it.
He was, but those that typically follow the path of one partner will say things sometimes in order to keep the one that they love. Should you turn down my proposal, that would not change our friendship, my affection for you, whatever that is.
Thank you.
I figure that may be something that you needed to hear.
Appreciate that.
How are you feeling?
I have a lot of things that I need to fix.
Well, you are not alone.
I'm not.
I prepared a room for you to rest until you're ready to leave. If you would like to see it.
I would.
Show around the siege. Is there anything that you do before you leave to go back to the palace to oversee your duties, as it were?
She's so sheer.
Oh, there you go. You have an intimate moment with one another in the siege. So Zoshir, before you were a little on the fence, at least outwardly, whether or not you were contemplating having a serious relationship with Daphne and pursuing that to that end. Now you perhaps feel a little differently. Whether you show it or not to anyone else is completely up to you, of course.
He prides himself on being kind of stoic despite being a curious person, especially now that he's a naive.
Yeah.
But if anyone was paying attention, they'd see that his gaze lingers longer on her, and he finds small moments to, like, brush her hair out of her face or just a gentle touch on the shoulder or on the hand. Just small things, but
Yeah.
meaningful.
Most of the other people are kind of oblivious to it, but the Saidinas, who are constantly watching, and Merlot in particular, take notice. They don't bring it up to you in council or anything like that. They kind of keep it amongst themselves. But yeah, once this business with the Duchess is at an end, they're like, all right, we're gonna make preparations to go to Siege Sabir ASAP so that we can conduct this razzia and rob the Harkonnens of the wealth that they have been stealing from us. Is there anything that you do before she leaves?
He's gonna make sure it's all right with Nawin at first, but he is his intention is to gift Lady Daphne with her first crysknife.
Of course, this will have to be a ritual, as she will be inducted into the tribe. It will be approved, I promise. Once you arrive at the council with her as at your side, I think the Naibs will agree and understand. One thing, though, Nawan says, do not disclose to her your heritage.
Why?
Because the Duchess is the head of house, and the houses play a very different game than you do. They may try to use that as leverage. They may try to manipulate things, not for their own sake, but for the sake of the house. If that information gets out to anyone within her house, or whatever kind of retainers she keeps, they could use that against you. And subsequently the siege.
If she asks me, I will not lie.
Then very well. Then don't bring it up.
I
I
have
admire
yet to.
your honesty.
If we marry, there is no reason I should keep things from her.
You're a
Even as
naive.
friends.
You're a naive, and she is the Duchess of a great house. There are things that you do not know that she keeps from you, even now. Even in the time that you are married, there are things that she will know that you will not because that is how the game is played.
Game. Our lives, our survival are no game.
Oh, believe me, it is. And it is one where losing means losing more than just your life. This is why we have to keep these things close to the chest.
As far as I'm concerned, while I may have had a Harkonnen parent, I'm
Grandfather, she corrects you.
grandfather. I am no Harkonnen.
No, you are not. You are a Shirtamer, and you are our Mahdi, and no one else's. With that, oh, sorry, you had more?
Oh, it was just going to be something along the lines of I have yet to get used to that title.
Oh, don't worry, you will. The ornithopter leaves Sihaya when Duchess Daphne deems it, and you make
Oh,
a swift return. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I imagine Norma's sulking. So, Daphne will take the time to read Kyra's journal.
Oh, very good. Yeah, you managed to get something in there during the time that you're reading the notes that she took. She talks about a great many things, a lot of disasters, mainly things that she saw that she deems as able to be circumvented depending on what is done. Let's see. She talks about how the Landsrad destroys itself, mainly using the capability of atomics. In that future, the Landsrad falls to rancor as the different houses use their atomics what's the word? Armory to destroy hundreds of planets. As a result, entire solar systems are thrown into disarray and plunges the rest of the Imperium into this sort of death spiral where famine and war run rampant. In the end, what's left of humanity huddles together in darkened caves or savage planet Arrakis and await the end, or as it's called, Kralizek, uh, the twilight of humanity, the great battle at the end of time. She talks about an unknown enemy, a vision which shows how DUNE is eventually destroyed by a strange offshoot of the Sisterhood who had scattered into the far reaches of the galaxy, of the universe, and return as a shadow of their former self. These are incredibly paranoid and violent matriarchs who reave their way through the Imperium in search of a way to rid themselves of rampant diseases and poisons visited upon them by an old yet seemingly mysterious enemy at the edges of known space that hunt them. And then there are the machines. One that specifically alludes to a return of the old thinking machines, meaning that somewhere out there, the possibility exists that thinking machines still live and are yet to make a return to the Imperium and could potentially bring about the end of all humanity. Let's see. There are different paths that end in the far future, as well as ones that have begun before and are soon to finish. Some paths led to herself or others like her, people within her own family that involve you and Masum and others like Elois. She's seen Masum and you potentially becoming regent on Arrakis after a great conflict that kills a tremendous amount of human beings. And each one of those paths seems to go down into this it leads the Imperium down this road that is rife with conflict and traps. She does confirm of one that in which she dies at the hands of an ally, and that they, in turn, take her place as the leader of Sahaya Tabir. Under this new revolution against the greater Imperium, at first she notes that they will deny the responsibility, but inevitably they take the mantle of leader. Otherwise, that path darkens if they don't. And the future endpoint will result in terrible consequences, the likes of which she doesn't expand upon. She gives you a little bit of a message as you're reading those words, as you're reading these predictions. You find that there are actually many messages addressed to you specifically in her journal. So you only find the one at this point in time before you land at the palace. But you know that if you take enough time to actually read through all of her writings, you'll find those other ones that she sprinkled in as well. If you're reading these words, she says, then you already know that they were written for you. Knowing the future is a perilous thing, but glimpsing it gives you something most people don't realize: perspective. That is, it reveals events not as you want them to be or as they should be, but as what they could be. It shows us in very concrete terms that anything is possible and that everything we do matters. It is when you continue to return to that well that you risk poisoning it. Before you realize it, the doors open up and aides come out to greet you. You look a little worse for wear, but Norma, or Conqui rather, sees you out and she's like, I will meet with Archibald shortly. And she's like, does he know about Yeva?
Not unless you told him.
Do you want him to?
Not right now. I just want to fix the mistake.
Good. Then I will attempt to do just that. Yeva
Thank
and
you.
I will have a chat in private. I'll be back within a week. Keep well, she says.
Thank you.
And she embraces you as a fellow sister now, fully inducted, as it were. She makes off for the spaceport for Jabberwock. You get brought in. So a day has passed since all this happened previously. So we're gonna say, Archibald, when you see the Duchess return to the palace the next day, prior to that happening, is there anything that you wanted to do? Anyone you wanted to speak to in particular?
Is there like? Oh yes, Canes. Almost
Who?
forgot about that. The worm specialist.
Specialist.
Hines, you mean?
Hines.
Hines. I thought his name was Canes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Her name is Dr. Kynes.
Yes, movie version.
Yeah, so I need to find the real name, but her first name,
Pardo? Or no,
No.
wait, it starts with an L maybe?
that's the secret name. That's the Fremen name. No one really knows that except for Zashir. Weichi, that's what it was. Second, Weichi. So you want to speak to Kynes?
Correct.
She is the Imperial planetologist for the Emperor. How do you go about getting in contact with somebody like this?
I would definitely find her contact. She must have some sort of. She would have some sort of secretary or something like that. And
assistance.
Yep.
Normally that would be the case, but not with Dr. Kynes.
Okay.
No known Imperial retainers or entourages or anything of the sort. She travels solo, apparently.
Okay.
But you do remember that Tuek, the smugglers you met with recently, were like, "Oh, you want to talk to Dr. Kynes?" Fremen know her very well.
Got ya. Okay. Yeah, I would go them and ask them where Kynes is located at.
You ask who is a Fremen. Like you just go out and ask random people, or do you want to specifically talk to?
I mean, the Tiberii should be around.
Yeah, I would probably ask one of the Tiberii. I wouldn't be going out doing.
Sure, we could say that they accompanied Daphne on the way back from Siege Haya. So you get hold on a second, we'll roll a die and see which one you get. 1 to 3 means
give him Purdy, give him Purdy, give him Purdy.
And 4 through 6 means you get Nelia. Well, you get Nelia. Okay, you get the bad cop. She's like, "What do you require?"
I'd like to speak to Dr. Kynes.
Dr.
I was told that you may know where she's at.
She corrects you, and she's like,
Kynes.
"No one speaks to Dr. Kynes. Why do you?" Very well. It's like, and what is this about exactly?
Well, I was interested in the worms. I'm very interested in the culture, and honestly, I kind of.
So read a film book, she says bluntly.
Well,
I believe your doctor, your Suk doctor, has several.
Well,
she seems oddly protected, maybe guarded, about letting you have access to Dr. Kynes. You could chalk this up to her just being a Fremen, or her being Nelia, who's naturally sort of belligerent. But yeah, she's a hard one to shake. How do you respond?
May I ask, why can't I go see Kynes? What's the hurt in it? If you ask me.
You can see Kynes if you wish. She is, and after all, the Imperial planetologist for your Emperor. So feel free to see her as you wish. She doesn't usually have a place where she stays for very long. She travels around quite a bit. She frequents the botanical testing stations on Arrakis. Usually, she can usually be found within the Imperial Basin. Of course, she says the Imperial Basin like it's that little neighborhood over there, and it's the Imperial Basin. It's this massive, area on Arrakis on the northern hemisphere, and it's like, yeah, she's somewhere over there. She's basically telling you.
Okay. I would most likely. I would honestly like to go over there, see if I can find her.
And she's like, you're probably better off asking the people within your own house for contact on Dr. Kynes. And here's where you can roll discipline observation.
Okay.
It's probably a terrible liar, but I'm gonna roll anyway.
Who's a terrible liar?
Nelia.
So she's lying to me. Wow.
Right.
What do I roll?
Discipline. Tell if she's lying.
She's
trying to obscure the truth. Yeah, 2 dice. She doesn't give a shit. She's not a very good liar either. You have to beat 1 success. What would you do?
Well, I do have focus in this, so.
All right.
I've been misspelling her name this whole time.
Don't worry about it. I have created these characters, and even I misspell their names. Okay. 3 successes. All right. So you got 2 extra successes. Nice. You got some momentum going here. How do you respond to her lying? Do you keep quiet or do you call it out?
I ask her a simple question. Why are you lying to me?
She kind of rolls her eyes and looks away, and she's like, the Fremen have a great amount of respect for Dr. Kynes, and particularly what her father was able to achieve on Arrakis.
Okay.
Which is more than we can say for most Outframe, like yourself.
Well, I haven't really done anything for anybody to distrust me. I promise you on that.
Not yet, but I'll give you some time.
No. To be honest with you, I would like to actually become more friends with the Fremen. Not destroy them.
I certainly hope this is true.
It is.
With that being said, everyone here at the palace, including Count Fenring, who has recently departed, had contact with Dr. Kynes. So, if you go into their office, I'm sure you'll find the contact details there.
Yes, break into Fenring's office.
Fenring relinquished his office. He's no longer here.
Oh,
Him and his
okay.
wife, him and his lady are gone, so it's actually your office.
So I guess I would head there.
Very good. You go through the old things of Fenring's, and yeah, sure enough, there's community numbers and there's a lot of documents here. So you spend quite a bit of time going through, and finally you find contact for Dr. Kynes. You raise her on the community net.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
This is Dr. Kynes. Who's this?
Hello, Dr. Kynes. My name is Archibald. House Liberus.
All right.
I wanted to speak with you. I had some questions that I would like to answered. Prefer to be face to face if that's okay.
I was going to say, we're speaking right now. You can ask your questions as you will. Very well, I can be coerced or convinced to attend a sit-down meeting. Where will this meeting be taking place?
Out of character, Archibald hasn't been on Arrakis for a long time.
Not terribly, no. The majority of less than 2 months for you.
Yeah. I guess I would say
Bring her to the conservatory. She'll love it.
that's what I was thinking.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, you're like, oh, I have a place within the palace. It's perfect.
Correct. Yeah, I think that's what
Okay.
I'm going to do. I'm going to bring her to the conservatory in the palace.
Very well. When exactly did you want this to take place?
I wouldn't say as soon as possible, but it can wait. But
What is this about? She cuts you off.
I want to know more about the worms.
Did Raban send you?
Absolutely not. And he says that in the most how dare you attitude ever.
You take that tone, and she's like, very well. I will have my assistants set the time and the date with you, and we shall meet in your conservatory, as it were. Good day, General Archibald.
Good day.
Pardo, you're people are bringing security reports to you. The Duchess has returned. Did you want to? They're like, oh, this is happening, and we're still looking into the death of the maid downstairs in the basement. What are your orders? By the way, the Duchess has just returned from wherever she came from, the desert. She brought the Tiberii with her. What are your orders currently?
While Pardo's life was threatened earlier, he still has obligations to the house to make sure that it is safe. So he requests any and all surveillance information near where that maid died to be collected and presented to him as quickly as possible.
They already collected it because it's been some time. It's been several days since this happened. They bring you the information, and basically what ended up happening is the Atreides are coming to Arrakis, and soon. And in anticipation of this, they're going to be sending troubleshooting teams because they know the Harkonnens are not just going to leave Arrakis without leaving traps behind. So their demands were for the housekeeping staff to prepare these areas for them to come in and the troubleshooters to start working to check for traps and things. So one of the areas that was mainly untouched during the time that Count Fenring and his lady were occupying the palace is the below basements underneath the palace, where the shield generator is typically housed for the palace. There also is sort of like a makeshift barracks down there, several beds arranged in a particular way. They show you footage of this woman going in and basically changing the sheets on the table. And as she's bundling up the sheets and putting them in a basket, she starts to sway and she kind of like grabs onto the walls and she touches her face and she's sweating and she's just like, like looking around, like she's stumbling, and finally she just kind of collapses onto the floor, dead within 5 minutes.
Okay. Mm. Would I, with my Mentat brain and perhaps the assistance of Dr. Sloan, be able to calculate from like the onset of symptoms to the time she died, potentially what poison it may have been and how long it would have been since she first made contact?
Sure.
With like Sloan's help with his medical knowledge and Pardo's analytical mind.
Yeah. You go down to see Sloan and he's like, well, this he pulls the the sheet over the body, and he like very taciturn takes you through the process, like, well, she seemed to have absorbed something into her skin that caused her to die quite suddenly. If you look here, look at the hands, and like he takes the hands and shows them to you like this, and he brings you in close and brings like a device overhead, kind of comes down and sort of enlarges, and you can actually see like individual pores on the hand itself. And he's like, pay attention to this here over there. Notice that what ended up happening, whatever it was directly absorbed into her pores, and it quickly made its way through her system, and it started shutting things down. She was poisoned, and specifically, I think it was whatever it was that she had touched, either leading up into going into the basements or the beds themselves.
And there's only one way to confirm or deny where the poison came from.
I believe so, Marshal Reed. This sort of thing, I've seen it before. It's used a lot between inter-house rivalries. When there's kindly between one house and another, they'll use things like that to poison someone of importance. I suspect they left this behind in the event that someone from House Atreides perhaps came upon these traps, as it were. Perhaps we should leave it to the experts and keep the housekeeping staff away from that portion of the palace.
Agreed.
I understand your security team has already cordoned off the area, but I can't help but wonder what other traps lay in wait.
Fact. You do bring up an excellent point.
Oh. I certainly hope we're not going to be receiving more of these victims, as it were.
Seeing as we have only been here for a matter of weeks, over a month at most. This is only the beginning.
It most certainly is, I'm afraid. Oh, by the way, I understand that they're sending their Mentat over here, or rather his team. Howat's team was supposed to do a sweep.
Another
And then
one.
another another Mentat, yes.
Yeah, but
Another
Thufir's
one.
one of the best.
Mm-hmm. He's renowned in any circle, especially Mentat circles. Like he's like legendary. This guy's been around for like 300 years or something like that. He's ancient. Yeah. I
Finally,
think
a
you'd
worthy
like him.
opponent.
Worthy opponent indeed. Is there anything that you do after seeing Dr. Sloan?
Seeing as the entire area is probably just all traps, more than like statistically, just lock the door to that whole area. Just no one's allowed in there.
Okay.
Until we get like the experts involved for poison
Howat's
removal.
people.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
And Pardo then goes back to his quarters to practice his Cheops
Cool.
moves.
You notice something odd?
Like, oh.
Your cat's not there.
Oh
Schrodinger?
no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh.
You're like, oh, I'm gonna, and then you notice like the air quality and the like the flow and everything is wrong, and you're looking around, and Schrodinger's not in your room.
Maid's dying, perfectly fine. Missing Duchess, that's okay. Schrodinger's gone. This is red alert. Pardo immediately calls for a lockdown of the palace because now his life is in danger. There's no saving this. He will not tell anyone except like the security teams what has happened specifically.
Captain Hajan is like, I understand,
Right.
sir. Of course, we'll lock down the building immediately. Should I alert the Duchess as to what's happening? She will have questions.
Alert her that I will inform her personally.
Of course. So everyone is at the palace, and you hear like alarm bells going off, and everybody's like shutting the doors and shit like that. Like, what the fuck? What do you do personally, Pardo? Are you waiting in your room for a report?
Pardo will be analyzing the entire area of his room, seeing where Schrodinger would normally be lounging about, seeing if there were any trails of like bits of fur or scuff marks.
Sure.
Evidence of a struggle.
No, none at all. You did notice though that when you went to go use the palm lock on your room, that it was already partially open, which is unusual. That doesn't usually happen. So the door was already kind of open. Schrodinger could have sauntered out. Of course, they would have been noticed, you would imagine, by the house staff and certainly the security team. And it's a Jabberwocky and jungle cat. These things are extremely dangerous, you know. You run out into the garden, where you usually take it to do its business, you know, on the side of the house where they have the palmeries, the little palm trees along the side. I call it a garden on Arrakis. You go out there, and your heart is beating like at 100 miles per second, and then you start to calm down the moment you see Schrodinger eating out of someone's hand. Man, this noble is just sitting there, just petting it, looking off into the distance, this wistful look in their eyes, looking kind of bummed out.
Before approaching, Pardo will try and communicate to the security teams, like, sure, the subject has been found. Cease lockdown.
Captain Hajan's like, copy that, sir, of course. We'll be right there. What do you do? This person is oblivious to you, by the way.
Very casually saunter up. And...
You've seen this guy before. It's Varys.
I see you found my cat.
Huh? Oh. Oh, sorry. I think your cat found me.
Oh. Well, these things happen. Something on your mind?
I just, worried. For a friend.
Pardo takes a seat. I am all ears if you'd like to unload
Full
onto
communication.
a stranger. Real communication. This feels like a matter of faith, the heart of trying to connect to another person. A whopping 2 successes.
Oh. Two successes is apparently all you needed. You see, Varys is hesitant to open up to you specifically. You're the security commander and all that.
Oh, he knows me.
Right. But he's like, well, if I have to be honest, I'm worried for your Duchess. She's yet to arrive from the siege. And I understand that she's in quite a bit of danger. But I'm assuming you already know that you're her marshal, are you not?
Well, certainly.
What's its name? He changes the subject, points to the Schrodinger.
Schrodinger.
What an unusual name. How long have you had him?
Matter of months. Honestly, it's felt like years. Sometimes I wonder, without him, would I be alive or would I be dead? Give a little pet behind the ear.
Wow.
A little scratch.
Give yourself a point of advancement right now, Jesus Christ. Masterful.
I've been waiting seasons.
He's like, well, it's a lovely cat. And he says he's just kind of like scratching underneath its chin, and it's literally eating out of his hand. It's like, oh, I would have expected something a little bit more ferocious for a Jabberwockian jungle cat, but it is it's quite a lovely pet. Thank you for your time, Pardo Reed. I'll see you soon, I suspect, when the Duchess arrives.
Oh, certainly.
He gets up and walks out, and Schrodinger's just like, "Oh, hey, there you are. How you doing?" Starts licking your face.
Who let you out of your box? Come on.
Elois, before the Duchess arrives back to the palace, is there something that you wanted to do? Perhaps have another rendezvous with Amira?
Potentially that. I do think when the lockdown happens, she's immediately worried that it's because Amira broke into the place.
Oh shit. Yeah, so you're like, you hear the alarm bells go off and you grab Captain Hajan, who's in the hallway, like, what the fuck is happening right now? It's like, and you're like, tell me, and he's like, it's Marshal Reed's jungle cat, ma'am. We're trying to locate it right now. It's of extreme importance to the marshal.
She smooths him down first, and then thank you, and just turns no explanation and walks away.
He's just like, shit. Keeps on moving. The alarms go away within maybe like 10, 15 minutes at the most. So everything's back to normal. Is there something that you're doing before Daphne arrives from where she's been?
Yeah, I'd like to actually rather than Amira, I'd rather rendezvous with Pardo Reed.
Ooh, excellent. Okay. You
sits in the garden.
Yeah, he's just petting Schrodinger. There you
go. Marshal Reed, a word, if we could.
Certainly. Take a seat.
She'll pet Schrodinger.
Okay. Yeah, it's responsive to you. It knows your scent.
I was thinking about elegant solution to the recent problem I find myself with.
Of course.
And I wondered perhaps if you had an extra set of the Tiberi uniform.
Memory serves, I believe I do.
That'd be wonderful. I have a good prospect, I think.
I see. Glad to hear it.
Oh, and one other thing. I believe my uncle will be coming with a note in the near future for you to apply your cryptography to.
Mm.
As strong as possible, if you could, please, Rachel Reed. I don't expect these favors for free, so if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. I'm at your disposal.
Perhaps then you'd be so kind as to offer me a challenge in the game of chaps.
She leans forward, deeply intrigued. I've not played since I was a little girl on Jabberwock, actually. I hope my skills haven't gotten rusty.
It is not necessarily your skills that I'm looking forward to witnessing. As I understand it, you have premonitions, visions.
I do.
And I am incredibly curious if that gift also applies to the field of chaps.
I see.
I look forward to playing a game of chaps with one who knows my moves before I do.
Very well.
That is all I can think of, really.
So I'm guessing this whole time there's been a lot of like double talk going on here. I'm assuming that your Pardo is putting down like, hey, let's form a conspiracy, and let's like, yeah, let's do that. Do you exchange information in any other way, like with messages or anything like that?
I does Pardo Reed have eye language?
Yes.
House language.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the house language. You can communicate.
Oh,
that
then
way.
yeah, then while she's moving her mouth, her eyes are doing something completely different.
Excellent. Okay, so you establish that rapport. Is there anything that you do after you have a round with Master Reed?
I think then she'll arrange to meet Amira.
Where would you like to meet her?
Has to be outside the palace, obviously. Probably one of the nicer districts in Arrakeen.
Sure.
Yeah.
A little bit more of the water-rich areas where there is like a water baron, you know, that pays tribute to the Water Sellers Guild. And then the merchant district, so it's a little bit more hoity-toity. So she meets you at some place where it's like a low-lit establishment where you have drinks and dinner and, you know, other things. So you walked in and they check your attire first before you walk in, before they allow you entry, and they're like, all right, come on inside, you have money. And they go in and sit you at a table. You're sitting across, or you're sitting in a room with like chome advisors and you know, people from the Spacing Guild. Like everybody here has money. Even there are even people who are coming in from like spice production crews, and the rowdy bits are like on the other side of the common area, and they're just throwing away money with spice. Eventually, you catch a glimpse of Amira's multicolored veils, and as she just kind of walks past, as her signal to like follow me, um, who was already here before you arrived, so she secured like a little nook, and that's exactly what it is. Think of like the booth at like in Star Wars where Han Solo sits across from like Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's like this little booth that has like a semicircular induction to it, and then there's like a curtain that pulls across with beads and pieces of wood like clattering. She shuts the curtain closed as you walk in. She has a couple of spiced coffees arranged for the both of you. How are you? She says. And she embraces you.
She like looks around and then does as well. It's not a very absurd like not a very like well she's not putting really that much effort into looking around. It's like a quick glance. And then
Sure.
yes. I'm doing better than I was. I've had some time to hatch more schemes.
And what schemes would those be? She says.
I've entered into a sort of bargain with Pardo Reed.
Oh, the Mentat again.
Yes.
What does he want?
That remains to be seen, but
that's dangerous. We need to know what he wants first. We're going to make a deal with him.
I've already made the deal with him. It's done.
Oh.
That was reckless of you.
Indeed.
Do you think this is the time to be reckless?
I think that since something's watching every member of my family and me from outside of whatever I went to.
You need to explain what you mean by this. Who is watching us? The Emperor? The Spacing Guild?
It's not something human. It didn't look human anyway.
What was it? And you struggle to try to like form what you saw in your mind, and it's almost like your mind is fighting you on putting together what that was. Like you can tell, like you can describe what its lips look like, and it's like that, but around that, like the coif or like the ridges or something, like you're just like I can't describe to you what the fuck I just saw.
Aaron knows who it is now. Aaron fully knows who it is now. Great. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't explain. It doesn't matter. I can't do anything about it. And all I can do is act quickly so there's no time to...
You do understand how absurd this sounds, right? You saw something that you can't describe, but you can't tell me anyway because reasons.
If I could, I would. You know that. You've been my confidant for 12 years. Why would I keep this from you if I could tell you? I don't know how to explain it.
You're scared because something unknown is monitoring us. Are they monitoring us right now? Can you tell?
No, it doesn't work like that.
How does it work? Help me understand what it is that you're going through.
You know how you wake up sometimes and you have a sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach that something terrible is going to happen, and then something terrible
only every day of my life. Yes.
Fine. Imagine that, but you see the terrible thing weeks before you get the awful feeling in your stomach. That's what it's like.
How far ahead is this thing?
I don't think it's in time. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? It doesn't matter. I'm not focused on that anymore because I can't do anything about that as far as I know. I need to find this fifth person, the fifth nexus point. I need to know who this is.
I'm sure the guild wants to find them as well and kill them.
Yes.
Are you sure you want to find them all?
If they find whoever it is before I do, they'll kill them.
You want to protect these nexus points.
Yes, I want them all together so that the fucking guild can't see what goes on with us. We'll have freedom from them at least in terms of their.
Elois, she says, she like reaches across the table and grabs your hand. Listen to me. If you bring them all together, you're putting all of them in a fucking barrel for them to shoot at.
We already know one of them they can't shoot at. So if he's here with the rest of us, we're all safe. What, are they going to drop an atomic and kill the Emperor's son? Don't be ridiculous. They can't kill us all at once.
She looks at you when you say that, and like she gives this look like, "Are you sure about that?"
Don't put past these people.
She sips her spiced coffee. I'm worried about what this is going to do to you and what it could potentially do to us. This is literally going to drive us apart. Or we're all going to come together and they will be easy targets for them. There's no easy way out of this. We run or we stay and we fight all of them. I don't know how the hell we're going to do that. Your uncle seems to be convinced that he can rally an army of exiles.
I mean, I've had my thoughts about my uncle over the years, but if anyone can raise an army...
If we're going to go down that path, we need to we need to somehow get in contact with a navigator that'd be willing to take us to Two-Pile.
Any navigator will flip with enough spice on the table.
Yes, and how much spice do we actually have to bribe a navigator with? You know how much spice they consume?
Yes, I understand, but the whatever the razzia will going to seize a lot of spice with that.
How much spice?
Erin forgets how many meters high, but she'll just say the meters high.
Decades of stockpiling high. Yeah.
Yes.
Illegal stockpiling. She's like, we're talking billions of solars in melange.
Yes.
The Harkonnens have been stockpiling. Okay. Put me on their detail. I'll play your game. I'll be one of the Tiberii or whatever. But I need to be on that detail so that I can get in there and secure our insurance policy so that we can get a navigator to get us to Two-Pile. If that's what it's going to take to defend ourselves against the guild and the Bene Gesserit, then what other choice do we have?
None.
She's like, I'm doing this for you. I hope you understand. She says.
Do you think I'm doing it for my house and not you?
I just figured you'd need to hear that.
I appreciate it.
What does your niece get back?
She's going to get her own cut of the spice, I assume. The house will, anyway.
Not before we get ours, she says defensively.
Of course. With how much they've been stockpiling, it won't be an issue, I don't think.
Certainly hope not. She says she's like just looking at her reflection in her blade. Is there anything that you want to do other than meeting with her? Is there other plans that you had in play before you head back?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, she has no way to figure out who this person she has never met is, so.
Just give it time.
Just walk me around Arakeen and let me look at strangers for a while, Amira. No, she goes back to the house.
Very good. Daphne, you arrive back at the palace, and there seems to have been some bit of activity here lately. You're more aware than usual. Conqui, of course, goes to the spaceport to head off to Jabberwock. But you see that the security details are a little bit on edge when you first arrive. Like, oh, Duchess, I believe there's some people here that want to meet with you. There are guests. I believe Dr. Kynes is here to see General Archibald. She's waiting in the conservatory, and also they're struggling with the words. your confidant, Varys, has been waiting patiently for you here for your return. He instructed us to alert him when you first arrive, whenever, of course, you're ready to receive him.
I'll see him now.
Very well, Your Grace. They summon Varys. Where do you want to meet with him?
Oh, somewhere private. Is the conservatory big enough for multiple private meetings?
Oh, sure. I mean, yeah, I'll say so. Sure.
That's
You find Archibald there, to your surprise.
my lady.
Uncle.
And a very tall woman of dark skin, and you see she has a still suit on, and she's traveling with at least 2 or 3 other Fremen, and they're here, and they're just sort of like aghast at how much moisture it takes to keep this place alive. General Archibald, she says, not just Daphne. Good to finally meet you. Welcome to Arrakis.
Thank you. I've heard much about you.
Thank you.
All of it good.
Good to hear.
Pleasure meeting you.
The general here wanted to speak with me, I believe, for some sort of a meeting. I think it regards the sandworms of Arrakis.
Yes, it does.
I appreciate your choice in locales. What is it that you needed to know about sandworms that you can learn out of a film book or a mentat?
Well, you see, from what I've been told, these sandworms are very specific about where they can live, what they can do. I wanted to know. By the way, Daphne's here with me, correct? Out of character?
Yeah.
I guess call me a little bit of a pioneer. But I want to know, hypothetically, if we were able to incubate a worm and raise it, would that be possible?
General Archibald, you are aware that sandworms of Arrakis can reach, lengths of 700 meters?
Yeah, I am aware of that.
Good. I struggle to understand how you would incubate something so massive as that.
I guess that's where the pioneering comes in.
Ambitious, I'll give you that. What is it you hope to do with these experiments?
Honestly, right now. By the way, Ixion Dampener is 100% on, out of character.
Oh, like, hold on a second. As soon as you start like silencing the area, she starts getting a little leery and looks to Daphne like, "You know this motherfucker?"
I'm just.
Daphne's like, I have no idea what's going on. Uncle, I think you're thinking about the sandworms the wrong way. They're not livestock. They're a force of nature to be respected.
Oh.
Dr. Kynes sees this and nods in agreement.
I 100% agree with that. But on the other hand, I also feel like if we were able to do something like that, it would pioneer a lot. It'd basically pioneer a lot for Arrakis as well.
I think if that were possible, the Fremen would have done it already.
Yes, but you never know. You see, everyone sees all these things, all these visions of the future, and I'm sure there's one where the worms go extinct or something like that. Something always happens.
Yes, and everyone dies.
Exactly.
Kynes is a little confused as to what you're referring to, so she's just kind of quietly observing the both of you as you're going back and forth. She's like, well, General Archibald, many others have tried to replicate. If I seem to be reading where you're going with this, you should probably know historically there have been various individuals and organizations that have tried to replicate the spice cycle that exists here on Arrakis elsewhere, to varying degrees of failure. I wouldn't bring it up in casual conversation, but the Emperor can probably testify to these events better than I can.
Okay.
Suffice to say that Arrakis is unique, and trying to recreate another planet to house the resident sandworms is quite a task. There is no other world like Arrakis. Indeed, the people here believe that God created Arrakis to test the faithful, and one mustn't ever go against the word of God. Thank you for your time today. Hope to be able to see you again soon.
I hope
Grace,
so.
she says. And she bows and leaves with the Fremen behind her. The Fremen, by the way, follow her, with conviction. Archibald, is there something that you wanted to do or say as Dr. Kynes leaves the conservatory?
So yeah,
Okay. What you gonna say?
that's a good question.
She's left the privacy field already, and she's like marching nonchalantly back to the ornithopter, just kind of muttering under her breath, like, well, that was a fucking waste of time.
Daphne will call after her an invitation to dinner this evening.
Oh?
You've come so far. It's the least we could offer.
It's very kind. I accept. When she looks to her Fremen consort, entourage, and just kind of makes this gesture, and they nod. And we shall return in the evening then. We'll browse the Arakeen marketplace for the meantime.
By all
And then
means.
when the sun sets, we'll return.
And I would kind of respectfully bow and be like, and say, by all means, I'd like to see you. Would like to see you again.
Very well. Turns and leaves. You go back inside to wait, and Varys comes through and sees Archibald. It's like, General. Hello.
Yes. He's gonna be like kind of
is-
shocked, like, wait, you're talking to me?
Wait, who is this?
This is Varys. He's
okay.
trying to get into the observatory, and Archibald's like, "Hey, Kynes, notice me." He's like, "May I, if I please, have a private moment with Daphne?"
I guess.
You collect your Ixian dampener, and he gets a glimpse of that and goes, "Huh, okay." Watches you leave. And he's like, "If you don't mind, the servants." And the servants are like, "Okay." They look to you, Duchess. Like, do you want the entire conservatory to yourselves, or do you want people like hanging around?
Yes, this is a private conversation. Everybody can shoot.
So
Excellent.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm probably not gonna completely leave the room, but I am gonna go out of sight, and just to make sure, because
Oh, good.
I don't
Roll
trust this guy.
movement
I
and
never have.
roll movement. You need if you have a specialty in stealth, you can employ it here. I'm gonna roll his notice. It is exceptional.
I'll use my inspiration point. Why not?
Sure. Your determination point, is the drive that you're using have a statement?
Yeah, it does.
It does. Is it
Wait,
truth that you're using?
Yeah, it's truth. It says,
Okay,
"You know me
excellent.
by my deeds."
All right, roll the bones.
Rolling the bones. What do I get for my inspiration point?
2 successes if you spend it.
Yeah, I'm going to use my inspiration point. Determination point. I'm sorry.
I rolled 3 dice for Varys, and I only got 2 successes, so you succeed. Very
4
good then.
successes.
Well, oh, okay. So you have momentum, I guess. Well, we'll dock one, so add one. So we had a scene change, so that drops one, but we'll add one back in. So you have three momentum currently. You kind of like skulk away, like after he leaves your periphery, you kind of blend into the shadows and shut the door. And Varys comes in and sees you, Daphne, and your current attire, and he's just kind of like stunned. He's just kind of like, you can see him like visibly shaken. You actually can see like he's struggling with words, and he comes up to you and he's like, "You're alive," and he sees like tears in his eyes, like, "You're alive, you survived," and he grabs your hands and he's like, "I've missed you so much. Are
You
you
did. I
well?"
have something to tell you. I had a vision during the process.
What was this vision of?
Our children.
Oh, that's wonderful. Daphne, if you only knew how you've touched my heart in the short time that I've known you. I don't know what to say. I think I'm falling in love with you. Will you marry me? And he, does the thing where he gets down on his knees and grabs your hand.
You suggested a few days ago that I could accept both proposals.
I did.
Are you still willing?
I will do anything to be by your side.
Well then. He's willing, you're willing, I'm willing. This is going to be unorthodox and interesting.
You said that you said children. He stands up.
I hope you like the names Federico and Adelaide.
I think they're lovely names. Well, this calls for celebration. We should throw a dinner party, perhaps.
Well, I haven't said yes yet.
Oh, I merely meant the children.
Yes.
I understand
Yes.
if you are hesitant to say
No.
yes.
I'm saying yes.
He kisses you. He is you saw like he tried to hold his emotions in check, but like he couldn't do it. So he's just kind of like gushing at the moment, and he wipes tears from his face, and he's like, "You've made me a happy man." He doesn't know. Says like he almost doesn't know, like he wasn't expecting it. And he's like, "Shall we?" He gestures towards the door.
Next.
Hand in hand, you walk, and Archibald, you're just watching this guy like a cat. And the odd thing is, despite how sketchy this guy was, everything that happened in this room seems genuine to you. He was moved to tears that Daphne didn't die. No actor can pull that off. No way.
So
He opens
I
the
know.
door.
Go on.
Mhm.
So I now know that something almost killed her. Correct?
Yeah, like whatever it is that brought her out of the palace, like there was considerable anticipation that she might not make it.
And she's pregnant. Gotcha.
And she's pregnant, right? They both leave, and you start walking the area, heading down to like the reception area where there's like the big tables and everything like that. And he's like, "For the first time, I think I feel happy," he says, and he looks at you. And it's just around that time that the glass breaks from the sniper's round. and that's where we'll stop.
Okay, the glass breaks and then what happens? I missed what you said after that.
The
I
glass
fucking-
breaks from the sniper's round.
God
Oh,
damn it!
She told you they were gonna try and kill you.
Well then, that
I
is all
don't
the
think
time
they're
that we have
killing
for
me.
this.
I think they're shooting him.
I think he's going to take the bullet for you. Is what
Ah!
I
yeah,
think.
that's what I think so too. It's gonna be a noble sacrifice.
Look at Ambrose.
The second
Ambrose is
Ambrose,
like,
I'm sorry.
That-
That
that's-
was
I got it in
So
That's
myself.
that
the
was-
I get her all to myself after all face.
yeah.
No, no.
Good things come to those who wait.
The second he said the words, I think I'm happy for once. I was like, oh, this dude's dead. He just got death
I
flagged.
saw it coming.
I finally
I
like
promise
him,
you, he won't die.
and now
Yeah.
he's gonna die.
And
Death
by the
flag,
way,
death
Rachel,
flag,
that
death
just
flag.
oh, that wasn't fair. I had a whole plan.
What did I do?
we were talking to Cades. Oh, they should be worshipped. Blah 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 blah. Wonder what?
Daphne's going native. Really, really
I didn't
hard.
know
The
that.
saying goes.
Archie doesn't know that.
He's got a
that
hint now.
Everyone's
Now
getting a
I
little,
do.
everyone's getting
He's
a little
probably like,
peek
oh, that's
at
why.
chat after we end stream right
Oh.
now.
Oh,
by the
really?
way.
I actually don't know if that's a problematic phrase to say anymore. My apologies if it is.
Well then, that's all the time we have for this session. I hope everyone here and those watching enjoyed the show. We'll continue our adventures into the Imperium next Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's just go around the virtual tabletop one more time, introduce ourselves. We'll start with Leo.
Hello, my name is Leo. You can find me at Leo of the Black on here on Twitch, where I play video games. And today for you, I played the mischievous Archibald. Oh,
Mischievous.
Two Pals getting closer and closer. Because that's where all of his
Ambrose.
big power moves are gonna come.
No doubt.
Hey everybody, I'm Ambrose, and I'm also flabbergasted. And you can find me on the internet as Am Changeling and on Etsy at Thornkind. Holy cow! I finally like Varys. Now he might die.
No, he's going to die.
I mean, everybody's gonna die eventually, but you know.
I warned him this was gonna happen. I think it's off Cardus.
He told you it was fine. He understood the risks. Aaron.
Hi everyone, I'm Aaron. You can find me pretty much everywhere as Great Cthulhu. Yeah, I played a deeply confused, conflicted, kind of unhinged Eloise tonight. You can next find me maybe tomorrow actually. My favorite JRPG series just released, Persona 3. So I might stream that tomorrow on my own channel at Great Cthulhu. And then Thursday, you can find me at my beloved partner Dre LaFay's channel. I think we're gonna play Stardew Valley again. It was probably the horniest cursed Stardew Valley that's ever been streamed.
Wow. It can only be with Drea, right? Like Key.
Hello, I am, and always will be, Keysum. And you can find me on Twitter at TrueKeysum. And I've been Bardo Reed, the Mentor.
Excellent. And last but not least, of course, Rachel.
Hello. Wow, this was an intense game. They're always intense. This was a lot of fun. Yeah, you can find me Stolen Fires, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. Of course, Twitch, because this is where you are right now. Unless you're watching this on YouTube, which I highly recommend going over to the Stolen Fires YouTube channel, where all of these shows and other ones run on the channel are archived and sorted into playlists for your viewing convenience. Yeah, I've been playing Daphne. Goddamn. Wow. Eat your heart out, Atreides, for stealing your narrative beats.
For real.
Yeah, so this is amazing. Thank you so much. And come back here on Monday for Victory, Vigilance, and Sacrifice, Dragon Age story of the Fourth Blight, after which we will be running Curse of Strahd, the She is the Ancient module. And then on Wednesdays, I will be streaming the Dragon Age video game. And I know I say this every week, but we are coming closer and closer to having more new shows on the channel, which is going to be really exciting once that happens.
Yep. I've been Eric, of course, at Modern Recluse Online. You can find me here next Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Big thanks, as always, to our viewers and fans for tuning in. And remember, never sit with your back to the door. Always remember your shield emitter. And be careful with whom you trust. For in the game of houses, nothing is truly what it seems. Good night, everyone.